Hello students, welcome. Today we will study and learn about consumer and producer surplus. So let's start. We will start with the consumer surplus. So what is consumer surplus? In simple terms, it is an amount of money or economic benefit that the consumers receive when they pay less for a good or service than the maximum price they are willing to pay. Consumer surplus can be represented by the help of a diagram presented like this. Here we mark price OD, which represents the price that the consumers are willing to pay. Then we mark price OP0, which represents the price that the consumers actually pay. First we have ODEQ0, which is represented by its green shaded area, which shows the amount that the consumers are willing to spend. Then we have OP0EQ0, which is represented by this blue shaded area, which shows the amount that the consumers actually spend. So now we have the triangle P0TE, which is represented by this shaded triangular area, is the difference between ODEQ0 and OP0EQ0, which shows the surplus or the economic benefit obtained by consumers, which is known as consumer surplus. So now we will understand the concept of producer surplus. So what is producer surplus? In simple terms, it is the amount of money or economic benefit gained by the producers when they sell a product at higher price than the minimum price they could have accepted. Producer surplus can be represented by the help of a diagram presented like this. Here we mark the price OS, which represents the minimum price producer is willing to accept. Then we mark price OP0, which represents the price at which the producers actually sell. First, we have OP0EQ0, which is represented by the blue shaded area. It shows the amount that the producers actually receives from selling the commodity. Then we have OSEQ0, which is represented by the yellow shaded area. It shows the amount that the producer could have received from selling the commodity. Therefore, the difference between OP0EQ0 and OSEQ0 is the triangle SP0E, which is represented by this dark blue shaded area, which shows the surplus that is received by the producer, which is also known as producer surplus. Now we bring the two diagrams of consumer surplus and producer surplus together, and we get consumer surplus, which is represented by triangle DEP0, and producer surplus, represented by triangle SP0E. Hope you all have understood the concept of consumer surplus and producer surplus. If yes, drop a like.